Okay, before we can do the rest of the servo setup, we need to get our head on, which means we have to put our main gear on and our main shaft. So with the gear set comes this little spacer. It's important you make sure this spacer is on here before putting the main gear in. Additionally, what's a helpful tip is pulling the gears apart. You'll notice the auto rotation sleeve. There's a hole that goes through the lower gear and the auto rotation sleeve, and this is where the bolt's going to go. It's helpful to take a small tool and line up that hole so you got a nice alignment with the auto rotation sleeve and the gear, so when it comes time to put your bolt in, you're not fiddling trying to find the hole. Okay, so then put the auto rotation gear back together, put the collar on, and then this is kind of a tight fit in these frames, but if you rotate it so that the fan blades aren't striking down here, you can get it to go in, and you just kind of rotate and it drops in. It's a tight fit. And then the other thing that's helpful is on your main shaft, get the hole in the main shaft so it's lined up with the hole in the main gear. So turn the main gear so it's up and down to you, and this gets you close. And then what you'll probably have to do is this collar underneath the swash plate, go ahead and loosen this so it can ride up. Because what I like to do is when I come through and go through the main gear is push all the way through, and then I can see my two holes. And that allows me to turn the main shaft and get the hole slightly lined up, and then pull back on the main shaft until the hole lines up through the other hole. And again, taking a small tool and going all the way through, wiggling it back and forth and centering those holes. And go ahead and put your bolt and nut through there. And when I come back, I'll tell you how to adjust this collar up here to get the main shaft properly tight. Okay, so we've got our nut and bolt through here, and don't forget to Loctite the nut here. I've seen people lose this bolt by not Loctiting. Now this collar here, we have to move this collar down onto the bearing, on the bearing block, so that there's no end play. You don't want the main shaft having any end play in it like this. You want it tight, 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 because that ring above the main gear and this collar crimp the inner races of the bearing so the bearings spin rather than the main shaft spinning in the bearing. If you've got that loose with even the slightest hair of end play, it's not right. So what I do is I take a finger on the bottom of the gear and I push up, and then I put my Allen tool in. Now this collar has 2 Allen screws, so you need to make sure both are loose. Put my Allen screw in one, my Allen tool in one of them, and with my other finger, as I pinch the two together very firmly and snug one up. Check for no end play, and there's none. Then what I'll do is I'll go take this one out. Now don't forget Loctite on these, alright? You have to Loctite these. They could come loose. Then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and put Loctite on one. Okay. Smear it in the threads, put it back in the collar, tighten up this one that I just Loctited and tighten it up well. Okay, check end play, no end play, go back to the one that we used to tighten, loose, take it out and Loctite it, and basically you're done. So once you get these Loctited, check again, there should be no end play. Then you know you got that collar right. Okay, so with the main head in and the main gear in, we can go back and now start setting up our links to the swash plate.